Last week, one of my video got a lot of attention, and I would like to thank everyone who gave that attention. Because this is the first time that I have a video reached 1,200 views in less than 24 hours. Due to this reason, I feel there's a need to respond to some of the critics and comments to the video. Because usually I don't reply to comments from people who don't have a clear face avatar or their video channel don't even have contents. Basically, the first point that I want to respond to is many viewers say I shouldn't use the word copy to discuss the similarities between the Singapore Jewel and the Sanya duty-free mall. I think many of the people who commented this didn't actually watch carefully the previous video. In the previous video, whenever I use the word copy, it always ends with a question mark. Why did I do that? Because I feel this is a discussion video and not an accusation video. So whenever I use the term copy, it always ends with a question mark. Moreover, after I showed the conversation I had with my architect friend working in Tokyo, I decided not to use the word copy, but rather I used the term took reference. The reason is simple. Just like what my architect friend in Japan said, copy is purely imitating all the shapes, the facades, everything, without knowing the essence of what it all means. Taking reference, in my understanding, is after seeing something that you like or inspired you, you took its essence or whatever that it is that inspired you, not everything, just the essence or whatever inspired you, you take it and change it to something better, something totally different. Maybe many of the viewers did not listen to this conversation I had with my architecture friend in Japan carefully. The second point that I want to respond is some of the viewers say they don't look the same at all. These two architecture, they don't look the same at all. Therefore, there is no issue of copying or taking reference. With regard to this, I can only say that everybody have their own unique point of view. Just like one of the viewers sent me a picture of the Suntec City Fountain and say, this looks like the Sanya duty-free mall. What can I say, right? Everybody's standard for copy or taking reference is different and it's very subjective. It is exactly what I talked about in the previous episode, that copying and taking reference, most of the time, it is subjective, not objective. So it is totally fine for you to disagree with my subjective view that these two architectures look alike. That is your freedom. If your argument cannot convince me, I have the freedom of not agreeing with your point of view too. So with regard to this point, I think that's all we need to discuss. If you think they do not look alike and you express your views, I welcome your views, but it doesn't mean I have to agree with them. So we can just shake hands and say bye-bye. The last point I want to respond is some of the viewers say, how can you say with confidence that the Singapore Jewel copy or take reference from Sanya duty-free mall? It could be the other way around. It could be the Sanya duty-free mall took reference or copy from the Singapore Jewel. Because the Singapore Jewel announced their famous architect, and the Sanya duty-free mall did not do that. And one of the viewers even shared some information which I think is very useful because they are objective truths. His argument is, although the Sanya duty-free mall finished construction in 2014, but the Singapore Jewel announced their design with rendering, in 2013. And in 2012, Singapore even held a voting exercise to determine which design is the most popular. So what he is suggesting is it is very possible that the Sanya duty-free mall design team saw what the Singapore Jewel team publicized as their potential final design and either copied or took reference from them, including the glass facade with steel lines and the funnel shape design. I felt he made a very good point with objective truth and objective dates. So I decided to do a little research, because if what this viewer said is right, then my subsequent episodes would have to be reversed in the arguments to say that it is the Sanya duty-free mall who took reference from the Singapore Jewel. However, it is a pity that I have to disappoint this viewer, because after a very simple search, I confirmed the earliest time that the Singapore Jewel publicized their design is in the voting exercise in 2012. The designer was the famous Mr. Moshe Safdie or Mr. Moshe Safdie. Maybe my pronunciation is wrong. And probably it's because many friends subjectively hope that it is the Singapore Jewel being the one being taken reference from the Sanya duty-free mall by the Sanya duty-free mall design team. This could be the reason that they missed out some very simple information that is very easily obtained in a very simple Google search. And I'll show it here and share with everyone. The Sanya duty-free mall is designed by this French architecture firm, Valaudet and Pistre Architects. I will leave their URL of this information below. There is their company phone number and email address, so that everyone could go and call and counter-check. This French architecture firm published in a China web architecture magazine called Good that they are the ones designed the Sanya duty-free mall, and very likely they are also the team that supervised the construction. From the content that they published and from the literature that they wrote, I can tell that this French architecture firm is very proud of this project that they were commissioned to design. And this information was submitted not long after the Sanya duty-free mall finished its construction in 2014. This information was submitted in 2015. Let's look at what they wrote over here. They say the construction commenced in 2011, which is 1 year before the Singapore Jewel held the voting exercise in 2012. Now let's look at the example that although the Singapore Jewel confirmed their design in 2013, their construction only commenced in 2014, and that is very normal. Because in the architecture industry, after the client confirmed the final design, there are still many processes you have to go through before the construction is allowed to commence. It includes a lot of paperwork with the government, ensuring that the cash flow is in place, negotiating the contracts with the construction company, and the construction company moving all their machines into place, hiring of workers, planning what's the first step, the processes to construct, etc. etc. Many things to take care of. So to put it simply, for the Sanya duty-free mall to commence construction in 2011, the latest date that the design has to be finalized must be at least 1 year before, which is in 2010, if not even earlier. Otherwise, without the finalized design, the Sanya government will never give you construction permits for the construction to start, and the construction team wouldn't know how to start with the construction. and they wouldn't dare to start the construction with a finalized design approved by the government, because there could be changes to that design. So if you belong to the group of people thinking both these architectures don't look alike, then you don't have to watch anymore. But if you are one of the people who suggested that the Singapore Jewel is very likely the one that has been taken reference from by the Sanya duty-free mall design team, the objective facts that we have show that it is not possible. So that's all for the response to the heated comments from the previous video. Now we'll go back to the original plan. My personal subjective view is that the Singapore Jewel took reference from part of the design in Sanya duty-free mall. Take note, this is not the most important point in the video that I made before and the videos that will come, because even one of the viewers commented, in today's society, everything is about copying and taking reference from. And like I said in the previous video, taking reference is okay. But did you took reference and you surpassed the source where you took reference from? That is what I'm most interested to explore and find out. So what is going to follow will be my comparison based on their aesthetics. You may find that the following video, my hair will be a lot shorter. That's because the following video is the same as the previous video I had in the previous episode. It's all pre-recorded in January. So I hope you will continue watching, and I welcome any comments and critiques.